Hey everybody, I've had a few people ask to have one made or how I made this first order ELFcutioner. So I wanted to just make a quick how-to video, so if you wanted to, you could make one of your own at home. So first things first, we'll talk about what I actually needed. So materials wise, you would need just a common first order executioner. Run-of-the-mill first order executioner. You can probably pick one up $4 or $5. And then some of the tools that you would need, some wire cutters, needle nose pliers, razor blade, X-Acto, some fine tipped paintbrushes, a drill, and probably the most difficult thing to get, and I had to kind of put this back together, but this is a hard plastic, I guess you'd call it a silly straw or squiggly straw. I found it at Walmart. I'm not sure if it's something that they carry everywhere, but I just happened to come across it, and I had picked it up for something else, and it was sitting in a drawer, and now it just ended up serving a purpose as a candy cane in the end. So the first thing that I did, obviously, is unbox the first order executioner, and then I removed the axe head. So if you see here, you can kind of see where it was removed. Basically, I cut the axe head off with the X-Acto knife. Careful not to cut off any fingers. And I cut him off right at, it's kind of going out of focus. Kind of cut him off right at the hand. So right at the end of the hand. It didn't take that long or a whole lot of force to get through it. Just be really careful not to cut yourself. So once I had the axe head off, then I used the drill. Here, I'm not sure what size bit. I would just choose a bit that that isn't oversized, and then one that obviously is going to accommodate the size of the straw that you got. So I just kind of took the wire cutters and I snipped up the straw, basically at the joints. So for instance here, I just snipped it at all the joints. And then I used, if you can see here, it's kind of smushed. So to round it out a little bit, I used the needle nose pliers and just applied a little bit of pressure to the end, and then gave it a little squeeze to round it out a little bit more. So then that way, it slid easily into the hole that I drilled. Now, you don't want to use a whole lot of pressure. I went really, really slow with the drill bit and just drilled out kind of coils at a time. And then once I was in, I would say it was, gosh, I don't even know what that would be, probably about 1/10 of an inch inside to the hand. I'd say it probably goes down to about his middle finger right here. So once I had a hole there, I took some crazy glue and just applied a little bit to the inside of the hole, and then I put the end in here. And so he had his candy cane mold at that point. I took a straighter end of that crazy straw and I filed it down. I had just a regular, just an emery board. Just file it down on both sides. It gives it some texture and it gives the crazy glue something to hold on to, and then just makes the ends kind of fit seamlessly. So I just applied a little bit of crazy glue to the top of the axe head and then held this in place for 5-10 seconds until it became tacky and just let it dry. I then taped off with masking tape the axe head and just used a regular enamel spray paint to spray paint the straw and black. Now you'll notice here that it's actually white and it's got some black marks in it. So what I am going to do later today is apply just a couple of pieces of masking tape on each side to cover up a little black, and then I'll retape the axe head and I'll paint it white. So then it'll look exactly or very close to what the first order executioner is holding. So next, paint choices. So these are the paints that I went with. I went with the lipstick red, the one in the middle there, as the paint for the actual First Order Stormtrooper, the one that is applied to his body. And then I went with a ripe red tomato for the candy cane. I wanted the reds to be a little bit different. I wanted the candy cane to look, you know, kind of real, have a little bit of texture and depth to it. So I mixed a little bit of the lipstick red with the ripe tomato, just because the ripe tomato looked a little bit orange. So obviously choose whatever colors you want. I will talk about a little bit later something that I would have done differently with the paint application. The antique parchment is the color that I chose to cover up the black parts and then cover up the rest of the candy cane. So if you can kind of see a little bit in the light, it has a little bit of texture to it. So I kind of had to glob it on a little bit to kind of give it an actual kind of candy cane look, like he was holding an actual candy cane. I know I'm super anal. Excuse me. So once I had the colors chosen and everything else, I went ahead and started applying the paint. What I did find was that the paint doesn't go on very well to the glossy surface. Now, some of you out there who paint a lot may be saying to yourself, duh, but this is my first attempt at actually customizing a Funko Pop. So what I would have done differently is used masking tape and the X-Acto knife that I have here to tape off the face and then cut and expose all of the black. I might have chose a primer to put down first. So probably a white or a gray primer would definitely make this apply a lot easier, and you wouldn't get a lot of the clumping and kind of stuff that I got on here from applying the paint. So you could do it that way, or you could do it kind of the hard way that I did it, and I just kind of went little by little and applied the paint into the black areas of the mask and the suit. The suit, I don't think that you're going to be able to kind of tape it off and cut everything unless you've got 30 or 40 hours that you want to spend X-Actoing out small pieces. You may want to choose a primer to lay down first because it'll definitely make the red paint application on the hands and around the legs and everything else go a lot smoother. So I'm going to turn around to the back and kind of see what I've done in the back here. So I considered doing something a little bit different on his chest, like maybe doing a Christmas tree or something else like that, but I kind of like the way that it turned out, just red and white, and it's the same kind of color scheme that the Elf on the Shelf has with his red and white outfit. So that was kind of what I was going for. I then used a little bit of the red paint that I used for the body and the eyes and applied a little bit of it to the X. So let me back this out here. So I basically just modified the E and the X. I basically took out the bottom part of the E with a little bit of white paint to turn it into an F. And then I took out the upper right-hand portion of the X and then made kind of a straight line down and just evened out the other side of it with red paint and white paint to make it say ELFcutioner. Have a steady hand because it was a little bit difficult at some points, and if you make a mistake, you know, I don't think you can undo it. But maybe a little bit of masking tape will help you from you know, making your paint go too far over into the E and messing it up. Just kind of did the same thing on the side here. It didn't turn out as good with the L, but you kind of get the idea. Just block off some of the letters with some white paint and then use some black paint to change a couple of the letters on there so then it reads ELFcutioner. So that's that. You can box him back up. Something else that I was going to do, my son really loves, he knows how much I love all of my Funko Pops, so I'm actually going to have this guy out somewhere in the house, and then I'm going to put the Elf on the Shelf inside of the First Order ELFcutioner box, and then place him back amongst all of my Funko Pops alongside or I'll put this inside with the elf on the shelf, have him holding this. So he'll be replacing the First Order Executioner as the First Order ELFcutioner. And it'll be a really cool prank, and then you'll also have kind of a cool keepsake that you can bring out every year. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you want, make your own and enjoy it. Happy Christmas, and may the Force be with you.